morning. Everybody doing well? Hope so. Out there in vinyl land, I've got I think an interesting video for you today with my recommendation for a really superb high-end turntable that, of course, is expensive, but compared to others, may not break the bank. The turntable I'm going to talk to you about today is Canadian-made, just across the water from Victoria, in Vancouver, Canada, by Pure Fidelity. Pure Fidelity is the brainchild of John Stratton. John, full transparency, is a very good friend of mine, one of the funniest men I know, a lovely man, and highly dedicated to his turntable making art. I think he started off as a hobbyist, like many designers, but was not happy with the sound he was getting from turntables, so he made his own. And he was very successful in it, and now his company is doing very well. It's had reviews in Audiophilia, in other magazines, and just had a fantastic review in Stereophile. The turntables are so good and comparatively reasonably priced. Michael Johnson from Audiophilia purchased his unit. I purchased my review unit. And I think even Stereophile purchased their unit. So it's getting amazing press. More importantly, the sound is amazing. The one in the video is the Harmony Mark II. And John sent me the price. The price for the Harmony Mark II is $9,995 US, which on the face of it is very, very expensive, of course, absolutely. He does have less expensive turntables, which you should look at if you don't have that kind of money. But if you have that kind of money to invest in a table, you're going to get a table sounding a lot more in the high-end world than $10,000. John uses the best veneers, and the one I have is quilted maple. If you go to Michael Johnson's review in Audiophilia, he reviews the Horizon, slightly different plinth shape. I think he has the mahogany. It's stunning. John provides arms from other companies, high value, high quality arms. I was lucky enough to get the TA 1000, which is from Acoustic Signature in Germany. And since the pandemic, it's been very difficult to get arms out of that company for the same reason of every other company having difficulties. But it's an amazing arm. I think he supplies the arm now. I think it's an Origin, what does he call it? Origin Live Encounter arm, and it's getting great reviews. It looks fantastic, and I'd be happy with that arm too. So in this stage of full internet transparency, there's been a few debacles with internet transparency and high-end audio companies in the last few months. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about my relationship. As I mentioned, John Stratton, the designer, is a very good friend of mine. He brought the Harmony over to be reviewed by Audiophilia. I'll tell you a funny story. He set it all up. Actually, I think it was the first one, the Eclipse he brought over. And it had the TA 1000 arm from Acoustic Signature. And we put on one of the famous Kingsway Hall RCA's reissues from Analog Productions, the Shostakovich First Symphony with the London Symphony and Jean Martineau. And about 16 bars in, when you hear some low basses, there is the Kingsway Hall Rumble, which is the Aldwych to Holborn Piccadilly Line tube going underneath the hall. And of course, they didn't hear them much in those days because their speakers were not that great. But the microphones picked it up. And of course, on the recordings, the way they're remastered these days, you get to hear it. So, stupid me, I said, "Oh, John, check out that rumble." Well, poor John just about had a heart attack. He'd only known me for like 5 minutes. And now I'm criticizing his turntable that has a lot of rumble, and wow. But of course it wasn't. It was just the rumble from the Kingsway Hall, which of course his turntable and arm picked up beautifully. So we had a good laugh about that, and still do. So I think the PR quote for the Harmony that Pure Fidelity come up with is top flight musicality meets timeless design. Well, it's a very simple looking design, but not simpler. It's a very, very beautiful turntable. It comes in quite a few finishes. Natural walnut semi-gloss, and then it has Santos rosewood semi-gloss, which is what Michael Johnson has. It wasn't mahogany. Mine is the quilted maple high gloss. It also comes in piano black and white high gloss. I think one of the things you'll notice if you lift up the very heavy Delrin platter is the subplatter. And John says, our subplatters are individually turned on a CNC lathe from solid aluminum billet. 2 silicone O-rings are inserted into the subplatter to grip the Delrin platter and to isolate it from vibration. It's absolutely beautiful. It looks the part, it's very high-end and finished to a high degree. Power comes from the same control unit used with the Eclipse. It's a 12-volt AC synchronous motor coupled with an outboard speed controller called the Maestro. Now, John was very kind and has now changed the Maestro to a better, larger design, which he now calls the Conductor, which he said he named after me. So I hope it's good. He's bringing one over to the island so I can have a listen to it. The Maestro, and I'm assuming the Conductor, comes with a separate linear power supply and has 2 toggle switches on its front plate, on and off, and 33 and 45. I will tell you that the speed accuracy on this turntable is almost direct drive like. It's remarkably good. On some of my other tables, I've had some issues with speed and the board that comes with it, the control speed. On John's turntables, absolutely rock solid. So John says his main goal was to introduce a new model that would add to the strengths of the Eclipse and the Encore, improving on their existing characteristics, not changing them. He's very proud of the aesthetics of the turntables, but as beautiful as they are, I will only add or change components if they improve the sound. So this is what he's added to the Harmony over the Eclipse. So he added a solid 18-pound isolation base that has improved what is already a very quiet turntable. I mean, it is jet black backgrounds on this turntable. It's a unique design, and the table's feet sit inside the machined pockets of a platform, giving superb isolation due to its weight and an additional set of feet. Now, one thing that he's added in the last little while, Gaia isolation feet from Isoacoustics, the company in Toronto that makes some of the best isolating feet around. Just amazing. We reviewed them in Audiophilia, and Carl Sigmund, who reviewed it, loved them so much, he kept them. Absolutely. And the feet on John's turntable are proprietary made for him, specifically for the turntable by Isoacoustics. They look beautiful, and they really add even more quality to an already fine turntable. So let's talk about why you should buy this turntable. I've heard a lot of high-end turntables. I own one that I use for my stereo setup. That's the Bergman Magna, which many of you know. I've done some videos, and of course we reviewed it, I think, 3 times on Audiophilia. I love it. $13,900, that's including the arm. It's a remarkable table. I use the Pure Fidelity Harmony primarily for my mono setup, which I've got a really great Infinity, Miyajima Labs Infinity cartridge, wonderful. The turntable also comes with John's record weight, very heavy, you've got little ball bearings underneath, looks amazing, and really is very effective. I just put the Rolling Stones in mono, the colored vinyl, it sounds wonderful, but some of the quality control, some of the pressings are not very flat. And John's table and his record weight and the arm and the Infinity cartridge ride it out, no problem. So hearing a lot of different tables, some things are just well priced. In fact, many of them in the high-end world are well priced. I think the Bergman at $13,900 is still good value. It's very expensive, but it's a brilliant, unique table. John's table is under $10,000. I'll be honest, I have not heard many tables at that price level that can compete for the looks, design, quality, and most of all sound of a turntable like John's. So I would highly recommend you having a listen if you're in the market for a kind of end of journey turntable, and you're a vinylophile like many people are nowadays, and you're thinking, wow, I'd really like to get the best turntable possible that sound great with mono albums and the reissue stereo albums and originals, and I've got this amount of money, well, maybe save some money and listen to John's table, and I think you can get something that sounds valued at much more. Now, I will tell you, the Techniques line of tables, direct drive, is a completely different animal. But they make very fine turntables. I've been very impressed with my nephew's kind of entry-level techniques. Just wonderful. I think he got it for $1,200 secondhand on eBay or something. And we reviewed the SL, I think 1200, I think it is, G, at Audiophilia, and we did a shootout with the Bergman, and boy, it did really well. $9,000 less than the Bergman. If I was choosing between the Pure Fidelity and the Techniques, I would definitely choose the Pure Fidelity. I mean, Techniques is a fine table, and it is a bargain at $4,000. And if that's your budget, you can grab one and have a very, very happy vinyl life. But if you're looking for your kind of end of journey, boutique, handmade, beautifully finished, superb looking, fantastic sounding, high-end or even super high-end turntable, for 10 grand, you cannot do better than John Stratton's Harmony turntable from Pure Fidelity. I'll leave all the information below. Thanks for watching. I will tell you again that John's a great friend of mine, and I did purchase this turntable. I got an accommodation price, industry accommodation. It's one of the perks of writing in this industry. And same with Michael Johnson. He purchased the table, the same thing. And I'm sure Stereophile did the same thing. But 3 reviewers heard the table, and 3 reviewers, and I think good reviewers, purchased the table. There's something to be said for that. And I even think that 1 or 2 of the reviewers who reviewed it wanted to buy it. It was just a little bit out of their price range, which is fine because it's still, even an accommodation price, you're still looking at quite a lot of money. So there you go. A super high-end turntable that looks probably one of the most beautiful looking turntables you can buy. Canadian made. Oh, Canada. Follow up, email. John is fantastic with. I think he's got 7 or 8 dealers or even more across North America, and a distributor. And I'll leave those links below. So that he's been in business for I think about 8 or 9 years now, and he's going to be around for a while. I know John, he'll never give up on this table. He's very dedicated that way. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the next video.